All right, let's jump right in. We're going to be digging into this really powerful documentary that looks at a pretty startling new reality. For maybe the first time in history, we're watching great, iconic cities start to vanish. Not because of war, but because our climate is changing. I mean, think about it. For as long as we've been around, our cities have been, well, they've been everything. The centers of art, culture, new ideas, our whole history. They're basically the biggest chapters in the story of us.
And that is the terrifying question at the heart of all of this. What happens when the very foundations of who we are, of our civilization, are literally being threatened by rising seas and wild weather?
And we've got to be super clear here. This isn't some sci-fi movie, some problem for our grandkids. Nope. This is happening right now, today, in places we all know.
This isn't happening in just one corner of the world. It's a global crisis. You've got the ancient, beautiful city of Venice just drowning under these constant high tides. Then you have Jakarta, a modern megacity, literally sinking faster than any other major city on Earth. And then there's Miami, with its billion-dollar real estate at risk from flooding, and Dhaka, where millions of people are already considered climate refugees. The front lines are, well, they're everywhere.
So, the main takeaway here, the thing you really need to get, is that the clock is already ticking. The documentary even has this interactive clock that shows the countdown, the projected years until parts of these cities are just uninhabitable. It's changing our world as we speak. But, to really get what this means, we have to zoom in. We have to go from that big global map to the personal stories. Because behind all the data and the headlines, there are millions of people whose lives are being completely turned upside down. I mean, just try to picture this for a second. You're a shop owner in Venice, the city famous for its unbelievable beauty, and now you have to put your furniture up on stilts just to keep your business from being destroyed. A simple sentence like that makes this huge abstract idea of sea level rise feel incredibly real, doesn't it? Or listen to this, a story from a fisherman in Bangladesh. For him, it's not even about trying to adapt anymore. It's about total loss. His home, his village, his entire way of life, it's just gone. He's had to pack up and start over, a refugee in his own country. And the thing is, these personal stories, they're not isolated incidents. They're actually the first tremors of a much, much bigger earthquake. They're the first dominoes to fall in a chain reaction that connects the environment to our economy and even our culture. And this is where you really see what's on the line. At 1.5 degrees of warming, things are bad, for sure, but a lot of cities can probably figure out ways to adapt. But at 3 degrees, whoa, that's a completely different planet. We're talking millions of square kilometers of land just submerged. Entire countries, like the Maldives, literally wiped off the map. It just goes to show you how thin the line is between coping and total catastrophe. And then there's the money. The numbers here are just staggering. Our cities are the engines of the global economy. They generate a whopping 80% of the world's GDP, and that entire engine is now in danger. So you can pretty much map out how this whole thing could spiral. It starts with physical stuff, right? Critical infrastructure, ports, power plants, they get flooded. That immediately messes with global trade, breaks all the supply chains. Next, that shockwave hits the financial markets. And the final, biggest domino to fall is the human one. All this chaos forces millions of people to move, creating massive migration crises. But look, this is so much bigger than just money. We are facing the potential erasure of our shared human history. I mean, think about the cathedrals in Venice, the incredible legacy of Alexandria's libraries, or the unique dances and stories passed down for generations by Pacific Islanders. This isn't just about land disappearing. It's about human memory, our very identity washing away. Okay, so I know this all sounds pretty bleak, but the story doesn't just stop there. The documentary is really clear about this. We are not helpless. We're not just victims waiting for the end. We are at a fork in the road, a huge decision point, and human ingenuity is already kicking into gear. And you can already see this incredible ingenuity popping up all over the world. The Netherlands, for example, they're not just trying to build higher walls. They're learning to live with the water, building entire floating neighborhoods. Singapore is future-proofing its food supply with these amazing vertical farms. New York is building massive storm surge barriers. These aren't just pie-in-the-sky ideas. They are real solutions being built as we speak. So really, this is the choice we're facing. It all boils down to two paths.
Path 1 is collapse. It's a future of chaos, loss, and devastation because we fail to act. But Path 2 is adaptation. It's a future where we work together, we innovate, and we create a totally new kind of civilization, one that's flexible, resilient, and ready for what's next. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? This isn't some problem we can kick down the road for future generations to solve. The choices we are making right now, in the next few years, will decide which of those two paths we go down. We are literally writing the next chapter of history. And so the whole thing leaves us with this one massive question. It's not just about saving buildings or saving coastlines. It's about deciding what we truly value as a civilization: our economy, our culture, our shared past, our future. So what will we choose to save?